Hello, everybody. Welcome to GB Live 2025 here, our Xsolla release notes for August 2025. I'm Dean Takahashi, editorial director at GamesBeat, and I'm here with Chris Hewish, the president of Xsolla. Welcome, Chris, and congrats on your title change there.
Thank you, Dean.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to be here and to do these with you.
Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of news for August 2025 here, your sort of pre-Gamescom, I guess, rollout of a lot of new things. And there's different sections here. I think we'll start with developer tools and SDKs. And so how does the Unity SDK remove App Store limitations?
Mm-hmm. Well, so we just released our Xsolla SDK for Unity, and that really brings together, integrates payments, subscriptions, web shop features, all of these things directly into the Unity environment, and it makes it really easy for Unity developers to get out there and go direct. And it also supports Apple Pay, Google Pay, over 1,000 different payment methods from around the world. And this lets developers monetize with one SDK across iOS, Android, web, and PC without having to rely on platform stores, sacrificing control, or giving up the big margins.
Yeah. And I guess we could step back a little too and add some context here for why it's a good time to be doing these things for developers. I think they've had tough times over the last few years, and a lot of market uncertainty, a lot of changes in regions happening, and some welcome changes, through different court cases. The antitrust cases against Apple and Google are finally forcing changes into the market as well, and it creates opportunity to do new things for games and for developers, and you guys are taking advantage of some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is all part of just the increased momentum of going direct to consumer and giving developers the power to really evolve beyond just a set of limited platforms or walled gardens and to really grow their businesses in new channels and in new ways. And you're right, there have been the court cases in the US, there's regulations in Europe with the Digital Markets Act, Japan, South Korea, numerous other countries around the world also have various regulations. All of these things are kind of aimed at the same goal, which is creating a fair marketplace for developers to be able to go and run their businesses and at the end of the day connect with their players and provide better value to the players and the consumer. So it's a real win, and of course we never advocate just ignoring the platforms altogether. It's all just part of building a bigger ecosystem which combines platforms, direct to consumer, all the things.
Yeah. And you've got SDKs that are addressing a lot of the different parts of the market, the Windows and Epic. You have multi-platform strategy SDKs, Discord things. What to you are some very significant things to call out about some of these SDKs?
So we have a Windows SDK for games that are on Windows, Epic Store SDK, really cool Discord bot. We also have a partnership with Play, which allows you to actually port your Unity games over. But what's really cool with these things, when you're looking at, for instance, the Epic SDK, it introduces something called dual billing that allows you to be able to use either your Epic account, your Xsolla account with all the different payment methods. There's a number of other things that it allows. But the thing that I'm really kind of excited about, I mean, these are all cool, but the thing I think is really useful and will be meaningful to a lot of developers out there, especially going direct to consumer, is our Discord bot. And what that does is it allows you to actually sell things through Discord, run different promos, different campaigns. So it's a really powerful tool that allows developers to go further with what they're already doing in Discord, which is building and engaging with communities. This allows them to take it to the next level and actually make that another channel for them to run the business of their games through.
Interesting. And then we've got some changes coming in global payments expansion here. why is regional payment support critical in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, regional payments, global payments are incredibly important because when we talk about this, we talk about often they're referred to as alternative payments. But the long and short of it is that something like, I believe the stat is 56% of players globally are not using a major credit card or PayPal. So if you're locked into providing only kind of the tier one financial option, payment option for gamers, you're going to miss out on over half of your players worldwide. These gamers are using local payment methods, alternative payment methods. Increasingly, they're using digital wallets. Even here, well, here we're in Europe. Over in the U.S., we're seeing that digital wallets are now accounting for 30% of the commerce that's happening out there. So these are all kinds of new methods that traditional platforms don't fully utilize. When you look, for instance, in Latin America, 77% of gamers under the age of 20 don't have a credit card. They're using local alternative payments to actually conduct their commerce. And again, for us, it's very important that if you're not tapped into this large ecosystem worldwide, we have over 1,000 different payment methods integrated into one API. So if you're not tapping into that, you're missing out on a substantial part of your audience that wants to engage with you and spend in your game.
And you've got some regional coverage changes here, like India's got a relaunch. You have localization checkout experiences. What's worth calling out in this section on?
Yeah, I think there's a few
payments.
things. You know, as you mentioned, India, we've relaunched there with UPI, our UPI, and net banking. They have been relaunched, integrated into our pay station with mobile-first QR code-based flows. And this really opens up access to over 500 million mobile gamers in India alone so that they can do secure, frictionless payments in your games. So that's a huge, huge market to tap into. Now, of course, the economics are different in different markets, and you have to take that into account when you're pricing and doing things like that, the types of events and offers that you're creating. But now you have the opportunity to tap into that and to do that. And we have native language interfaces now so that the checkout flow is in a native language versus forcing people to go through English or eFigs or whatever it may be. Again, this reduces friction, which is always the name of the game when you're trying to tap into a much larger market.
Nice. And we have monetization and infrastructure and growth tools. What's the developer incentive program here?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool program. So this is a program that funds user acquisition with revenue-based rewards that are tied to your web shop and with offer wall use. So offer wall is a new solution that we have out there. And what this does, well, first of all, with offer wall, this is something that unlocks a lot of incremental revenue from your non-paying users through in-game tasks, surveys, rewards. And we've seen on a retention front up to 7 times retention and 10 to 14 times conversion improvements while complementing the other in-app purchases. But the developer incentive program itself, it's, like I said, it's a program that funds user acquisition and offers these rewards, and it helps teams scale with no upfront marketing spend, which is often difficult, right? A lot of developers make a great game, and they've put everything they have into that game, and they are not able to take advantage of scaling when they come out of the gate. And of course, everybody knows the great stories of scaling rapidly when you have a huge hit and cash is flowing in. That's great. That's easy breezy. But if you're like most games and you have some positive KPIs, you want to do incremental, slow scaling that kind of, you don't have a lot of cash coming in right away, but you have positive KPIs. A program like this can help you. It can actually make the difference between a good game sticking around and growing and having success or not.
Yeah. I noticed there's more money available for user acquisition funds now, and that's access to a certain kind of cash just for user acquisition that hasn't always been there. I think some banks have sort of provided this in the past, but now there's private equity coming in too, and so it's going to be sort of a new flow of funding to get games off the ground, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, to take a detour on funding, I think that's one of the things I'm already hearing over here at Gamescom is just the increased opportunities around funding, whether it is companies that are looking to fund against a revenue stream of when you launch and they're getting paid back out of revenue. Companies, there's more money moving off the sidelines back into equity funding. So I think it's a pretty exciting time for an industry that's had a bumpy road and a lot of people that may be looking to start up their dream studio and make their dream game. I think there's a lot of opportunity now.
And you guys have this LiveOps management suite, and that's benefiting developers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, LiveOps is so critical to the success of games today. And I'm not even talking just about free-to-play games, but even premium and hybrid games that are offering some sort of ongoing engagement with their players through seasonal passes and events, DLC, all of this. LiveOps can play a role within all of that. And with our tool, with our LiveOps management suite, it's a no-code visual interface that allows you to create segmented campaigns, allows you to do automated triggers, scheduled updates, and basically it allows teams to manage real-time engagement without having to have a big engineering team to build it all out.
And you got some things called Payment Facilitator, the meta sites, more cloud gaming trials. What are some interesting things?
We are not resting, Dean. We like to say that we do all the things that a game company might need to actually run their business so that the developers can focus on what they love, which is making great games. So Payment Facilitator, what is that? So that is a partnership where we've partnered up with Adian, and it allows our PSP model, or payment service model, to go over to studios who can become their own merchant of record. And that means that they now have full control over their payments, tax compliance, real-time reporting. And what it's designed for is developers that are seeking a global reach while having operational autonomy. So we operate as a merchant of record for our partners, which means we handle all the back office stuff like the taxes, compliance, VAT, chargeback disputes, everything. But there are some studios out there that would prefer to do that themselves, and this is a way for them to do that. Meta sites, these are browser-based Unreal-powered multiplayer 3D worlds that come with voice chat, integrated payments, referral tools, and basically they allow developers to launch immersive player hubs instantly with no downloads required. So they're really cool virtual worlds that you can spin up and launch and create something fun and cool. And then cloud gaming, I've long said that cloud gaming, there's a lot of potential there, especially if you think of it not so much as a standalone business, but as a feature that can complement your business in a number of ways. And so what we've done here, in addition to some of the subscription services around cloud that we have, we've created a new cloud gaming trial solution which allows developers to offer 15-minute browser-based demos of their games. And they can do this where the players don't have to do any installs. Developers can use this to test builds, get full attribution, test out monetization, beta test, bug test, whatever it may be, scale test, and get all the data that they need without having to send builds out or send codes out, without having to worry about getting builds back or deactivating builds, right, that may get out into the wild without their want. This is a very controlled way to demo your game.
Interesting. Let's see, and we've got industry perspective and your strategic outlook. I don't know how things are changing here, but game monetization is evolving. I wonder what some of your observations are about that.
Yeah, so game monetization absolutely is evolving, and it's really shifted to a multi-channel approach. I often refer to this as a hybrid monetization approach, and it means that there are so many different ways now to monetize your games. Things from how you actually do your different pricing, the different types of offers you make to players, to where you present those offers, whether it's through storefronts or web shops or directed consumer channels. You now have subscriptions, offer walls, loyalty systems, all of these different things that are multi-channel that can drive lifetime value beyond what you're currently seeing. And in order to do that, you have to really start to understand your player, which is a benefit of direct-to-consumer. You get all of your data, and you can now start to really understand your players based on not just their behavior, but their regions or their devices or their engagement profiles, and then you can offer them different monetization approaches that match them and maximize the monetization that you get. And this is really important because we know that acquisition costs continue to go up, regions are getting complex, platforms are getting locked in or are tough to deal with at times. So we address all of it with these modular tools.
Nice. So what are the biggest monetization challenges that developers face?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it just briefly, but certainly acquisition costs and discovery continue to be huge challenges. And you might say, well, that's not directly tied to monetization, but it is in the sense that if a player can't find your game, you can't monetize them. But beyond that, I think there are real challenges that developers face. It's not so much a challenge, but an opportunity. But it's a challenging opportunity to tackle, which is as you get a better picture of who your players are and better understanding, better LiveOps tools, better ways to engage with them, all of these different hybrid approaches. The challenge is how do you figure out the right type of monetization for each type of player and getting it very, very granular. So it's a huge opportunity. When you get it right, you see great returns. And maybe there are some players that they're never going to spend. They come from a region where they, even if you price things low, you're not just going to see the kind of results that you want, but they will engage with an offer wall, right? And that can be, and they can monetize through there. Maybe there's a cohort that you have different offer wall bonuses because they've bought into a season pass, but they're not spending otherwise within your game. So you can start to combine all of these things together to create a real layered approach to how you monetize. And that it's a challenging task, but the opportunities are great.
Yeah. Well, we have an interesting year or a season coming here for the end of the year where we have a Battlefield game, Battlefield 6 coming. We've got Call of Duty. There are different kinds of sort of mobile variants in these cases. And the competition should be just really intense. I mean, I think it's going to make for very interesting competition between those two companies, but also it's also going to put pressure on everybody else, and you don't want to be sort of caught without enough tools in your tool chest here, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, at the beginning of the year, everybody was talking about how the industry was in trouble because GTA had moved out, and now we have Battlefield 6. We've got so many other great games on the horizon. We're seeing an increase in indie games and a lot of success there, and while there are all of these games, we like to say that for Xsolla, 2025 is really the year of all the things. So we want to provide all the things that all of these games need to succeed.
Nice. And I guess looks like industry growth could be about 9% maybe. What's driving that?
Yeah, so I think there's several different things that are driving that. So continued growth globally and figuring out new ways to monetize all of these different markets and audiences is part of it. The increased push into direct-to-consumer where you have better margins, which is only part of the story. We also see a much bigger lift on the average revenue per paying user going direct-to-consumer. I just gave a talk earlier today, and it's basically a 23% lift. So if you're getting $100 going through a platform from your average spend on a player, you'd be seeing 123 going direct to consumer if you do it right. And if you deploy all of these tools and really lean into it. So, I think we're seeing growth as games just continue to grow. We're seeing growth in other markets. We're seeing growth coming from these new ways to monetize different segments. And then finally, just the growth that's coming from being able to fully deploy the power of e-commerce when you go direct to consumer.
And so how does Xsolla just view the whole idea of industry consolidation?
Yeah, industry consolidation, I mean, that's a tricky one. We feel that it does reinforce the need for independence. It reinforces the need that as these companies consolidate into fewer and bigger, we've seen it unfortunately over the past year or more. You have companies that get brought into multi-billion-dollar enterprises, where now they're only going to focus on the games that move the needle for the larger company, which is a game that makes $1 billion or more. So you have plenty of games that may make tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars that players love, but they're kind of getting shut down or cast aside. So, this is where independence comes in, and the need for companies like ours to be able to provide all the tools and all the solutions that these studios need to go independent and to be able to continue running their businesses without the backing of a massive mega corporation and all of that infrastructure.
Yeah. And so does that leave you with some closing thoughts? And
yeah, I think, again, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but, we think that we're seeing an increased growth of services and tools that benefit developers. And I think we really are, between the ability to conduct your business and kind of punch at the same weight that a big guy would be, the unlocking of capital starting to come back into the market, the amount of talent that is out there. Whenever there are big changes in an industry, usually that results in innovation. And I think we're really approaching a convergence where the power of direct to consumer and the ability to do that, the ability to get funded, and the amount of talent that's out there that's looking to make great things is all aligning. And I really do think the outlook looks bright. And I think between indie and mid-tier titles and studios, we're going to start to see a lot of great new things coming out.
Yeah. Well, it's we're overdue for them for sure. We want more innovation. We want more good games to play. But I think it's going to be an upward slope for a while here. So, any other things you'd like to add, Chris?
No, I think we covered it. I think I always appreciate the chance to talk with you, Dean, and love being here. And we'll see what comes.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.